Today, we're going to talk about how a child can grow up in a two-parent household and still not turn out right. Because I get tired of pro-black people, or black people in general. Every time, like, somebody black does something wrong, they'll blame it on, oh, the father's not in the house. That's the reason why they did wrong. They ain't have no guidance. I know people who had two parents and still turned out not right. That is possible. Y'all get on my nerves with that. Y'all blame everything on somebody not being, not living, not coming up, growing up in a two-parent household. I know this guy. Both of his mom and dad were preachers. Okay, how about this? He grew up, he was the baddest out of all of the kids. And when I said bad, shit, he was sleeping with his first cousin. He even admitted that he'll sleep with anybody in his family. If it's not his mom, he'll sleep with her. And he came from a good household. His mom and dad tried to raise him right, but he didn't turn out right. And that's how it be sometimes. Regardless of how good you raise a child, they can still grow up and take their own route, period. Like this guy, for an example. This guy is the Unabomber. I read the bio on him. He grew up in a two-parent household with both his mom and his dad and his brother. He was smart. He went to college, but he still wind up, not staying on the right track. He began seeing the downfall of humanity through computers and different stuff. So I guess to prevent all it or try to stop it, he thought of a brilliant idea to go around mailing people stuff and blowing them up. I actually think he had a point about, how he felt like technology was gonna be the downfall of the civilization. He could have went about it in a better way. He didn't have to blow people up. You know what I'm saying? That's how he got his name, the Unabomber. But my point is, he grew up in a two-parent household. He was smart. I think he went to Harvard. He went to one of those colleges or whatever. He was very smart. And he's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. How you can grow up in a two-parent household and still wind up not right. Had nothing to do with his parents and the fact he grew up in a one-parent household, because he had both his parents. This dude right here is another. They call him the killer clown. He was going around killing little boys, dressing up like a clown and shit. I think that was one of his jobs, being a clown. I don't remember. But the point is, he grew up in a two-parent household too, where his parents used to abuse him. Both his parents, according to the bio I read on him. It's just like I said, once again, it's possible to grow up in a two-parent household and still wind up bad. Not doing things right, going your own way in the wrong direction. That is possible. I get sick and tired of black people making up excuses. Just trying to find excuses of why people don't turn out right. A lot of time it don't have anything to do with the raising. Sometimes it do. Sometimes you can have two parents in the household who are making mistakes, but parents make mistakes. But the point is you can be in a two-parent household and still not turn out right. I know plenty of people who grew up in a two-parent household who are not right, who are evil as hell and diabolical. Then I know people who grew up in a one-parent household who turn out better than the one who grew up in a two-parent household. I've seen it happen. Now, I'm not saying it's not good to have your mom and your dad, but just because you grew up with your mom and dad don't mean that you're guaranteed to be good. You might change. You might turn into something totally diabolical, totally evil. And they can guide you try their best to guide you in the right direction, but just like the old saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Eventually, the horse going to do what it wants to do, and when it wants to drink, that's when it's going to drink. If it don't want to drink, it's not going to drink. Period. And I don't know about y'all, but I noticed this. Like, if like parents have like 2 or 3 kids, it's always one out of the bunch that is the baddest, like the bad apple. Always getting into trouble. I don't know about y'all, but I noticed that. And their parents be raising them right, or trying their best to raise them right. And they still, and all through their life, they still be a bad apple. It's not like that in all families, but I've noticed that in some families, black and white. I just get sick and tired of people trying to find excuses for other people's behavior. You get what I'm saying? Like with the blacks, they'll be like, "Oh, he did that because he wasn't raised with a father in his family," or "She did that because she wasn't raised with a father in her family. They didn't come up in a 2-parent household." Then the white people be like, "Oh, he or she did that because they got mental issues. That's why they did that." Like black people can't have mental issues. Black people can have mental issues. Sometimes growing up, your parents can have mental issues. And then you wind up with some of the same mental issues as your parents. Like my dad. I'm sure that if my dad was tested, that he have mental issues. I'm sure of that because, I look at how he act versus a person that I know who has mental issues act. And I can see mental issues within him. I can see that. And that's the way it be in some of these families. Sometimes mental issues goes from one generation to the other. Black people deal with mental issues just like other races of people deal with mental issues. And sometimes sometimes a father being in a 2-parent household, being in the household makes it toxic because he's toxic. Vice versa. Sometimes the mom can be in the household and be toxic too. And the kid grow up dealing with that toxicity, and then they become toxic too. So my point is, don't always think because a kid grew up in a 2-parent household that they're going to always turn out right. That's not how the world works. It's too much evidence out here to prove that belief is not true. It's just not. But that's all I got to say about this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share down below. And my next video, I'm gonna do my opinion on this new breaking news about George Floyd's killers, and about all 4 of them getting charged and stuff. Look forward to that. Bye.